The neon lights of Clubland flashed red on the undercover officer's face as she passed through the city, asking the same question she had been putting to herself for months. She leaned forward and turned up the car's heater, turned down the disco music on the radio, and sank back into the passenger seat, resuming her gaze through the side window. It would be 2 a.m. soon. Club closing time. A few figures were already tumbling out of barroom doors and onto the pavements. A thin man, maybe a student, stood on the street in a tight t-shirt and enormous flares, squinting drunkenly at the officer's car. He put out his hand in a vain attempt to flag it down. A friend pushed him playfully. "Better luck next time, matey," said Kelvin from behind the wheel. The undercover officer glanced across at him. How many decoy operatives had Kelvin Hattersley deployed over the last month or so? Is he out here tonight? The undercover officer repeated to herself before closing her eyes. One more run, then bed. One more freezing run. Kelvin hit a stretch of road where there were neither pedestrian crossings nor traffic lights, but he didn't speed up. Instead, he kept a steady 25 miles an hour, watching as he went, glancing from side to side. The undercover officer turned to her left and saw the darkened side streets beyond the street lamps. This was where all of the attacks had happened. Flicking past her, the turnings into avenues, which stretched off into black. Did the man wait down these roads? Like a spider in its web, did he set a trap and wait for a woman to fall in? Or like a predator, did he find a victim on the main street, then stalk her until he found a dark corner where he knew he could carry out his attack unseen? The undercover officer knew one thing. The main road was a safe space. Relatively. The crowds, the fights, kicking out time, drunken men. She could handle all of these. But the side streets were different. The undercover officer pulled down the sun visor and tried to look in the mirror on the underside. Her eyes were dark, her skin pale. She thought of her friends who had done this exact same job, night after freezing night. Not for the first time did she ask herself, what am I doing? She remembered the latest headlines in the newspapers. A city in fear. The police should do more. How many more women will be attacked before he kills? The undercover officer flipped the sun visor up. She opened her coat and reached for the brick-shaped radio hanging from a strap around her neck and twisted the dial. As her earpiece crackled, she spasmed, found the dial again, and turned it down. You okay? Kelvin was looking at her kindly as he pulled up to the curbside. The undercover officer nodded. She recalled her first walk, the flash of fear and excitement, a sense of the unknown as she left the car. But that pang of nervy adventure had dulled over the weeks. This was her job tonight, the same job she had done countless times. She opened the car door and walked into what felt like a wall of cold air. Subjects left the car, she heard Kelvin say as she closed the door. The words echoed into her earpiece. The undercover officer saw a set of traffic lights ahead and began walking towards them, then turned left onto the main road. A group of men walked past, shouting at each other, guttural laughs. She slipped by them and started up the gentle incline before the steep stretch of White Ladies Road. This was the main strip, a broad road with wide pavements heading out of the city. Bars, clubs, shops and restaurants either side. Alpha 1. Subjects past me. The undercover officer heard in her earpiece. Glancing right, she thought she saw a pair of eyes near a pathway behind a bush. Which observation guy had that been? She wondered. Andy? John? Chris? The cold was starting to seep through her duffel coat, through her heavy jumper, and was biting into her skin. How many runs have we done over the months now? She asked herself as she started up the steeper hill.